Hey guys, welcome back to another ARIA-SK Maths tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be explaining how to use standard form. So standard form basically just means writing a number within a number from 1 to 10 times 10 to some power. So let me show you what I mean. If we want to represent the number 123 in standard form, we could just do this by saying 123, well, that's the same as 1.23 multiplied by 100, right? And this is just the same as 1.23 times 10 to the 2. So, yeah, it's really that simple. And the reason it's called standard form is because you always get it in the same form. So you're always going to get it, in the form. This is the number 1 to 9. Actually, it's 10, but it can't be 10, if you know what I mean. So it's 10 exclusive and 1 inclusive. So what that means, and it always has this times 10 to some power, like so. So what this means is if you have a decimal number, this can also be written in standard form. So let's have the same sort of example, but now let's have 0.123 instead, okay? So what you have to recognize is this first number must be a number greater than 1 or greater than or equal to. So we can't just put this equal to 0.123 times 10 to the 0. This is just 1, so this actually doesn't do anything. But you can't have this because this number is not greater than or equal to 1. So what we got to do is we've got to change this to 1.23 times 0.1, because if you remember how to multiply by 0.1, just shift the decimal place apart to the left and you get that answer. So this is the rewritten form. And then what you should be able to notice if you've watched the previous indices video is 0.1 can just be written as 1 over 10, which can be rewritten as 1.23 times 10 to the minus 1, like so. So this is the standard form of this, like so. And a good way of actually working with decimal numbers is, let's just say you want to convert a number, let's rule this off, and let's say you want to convert something like 0.003 into standard form. So a good way of doing it is if you just start the decimal point here. So basically you want to count how many times you want to move the decimal point back. So you have to take the first number, which isn't a 0, like so. So let's take 3. And then we just want to count how many times you have to move this decimal point back to make the 3, to put the decimal point after the 3. So in this case, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So now we know that this can just be rewritten as 3 times 10 to the minus 3, like so. Obviously, this works for if you had a bit more complex decimals. So if you had 0.004976, well, let's use the same trick. So we'll use the first number, which isn't a 0, 4, and we got to add all the decimals. So we'll just put this in. And then we just want to count how many times the decimal point will go until it reaches 4. And in this case, it's just the same. It's just 3 again. So this is 4.976 times 10 to the minus 3. That's how you convert into negative standard form. So if you see a negative standard form, this just means it's going to be a decimal number. Now, it's also useful to know the base standard forms. So if we say we have 10 to the 0, well, that's just 1. So this is useful if you have a number which is already between 1 and 10. So if you want to convert 5.7 into standard form, well, all you have to do is put 5.7 times 10 to the 0, because this is already a number between 1 and 10. And if we continue, so of course, it's good to know that 10 to the 3 is 1,000, 10 to the 6 is 1,000,000, and 10 to the 9 is 1,000,000,000. Not sure if I have enough space to write this in. All right, yeah, and this is really useful if you want to convert large numbers, especially if you're given the commas. So let's say we want to convert a number, let's say 5,734,650,000 35,189. Let's just say we want to convert this number into standard form. So it's really useful to see these commas because you can kind of just match them up. So you can see a billion has 3 groups of numbers in columns and one thing over here. I hope that makes sense. So we can really just rewrite this as 5.734635189. The numbers all after the decimal point are just like going to be the same, but it's really this first number which matters. And you should be able to see if you match up the commas that 10 to the 9, 1 billion has 1 digit after the leftmost comma, and then it just has 3 groups like so. So you can just do this, and this is the answer. 5 point decimal times 10 to the 9, which represents a billion. So yeah, the thing about standard form is you really just have to do a lot of practice to be quick at it, because it really comes down to recognizing numbers, recognizing the magnitude of these numbers, and then just putting them in forms of 10. But the thing to remember is, if you go back to the start, this always has to be 1 to 10, not including 10, and this always has to be a power of 10, even if that power is 0 or 1, like so. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you understand standard form now. See you guys in a future tutorial. Bye.